Transformational advocacy is you hold a sign, necessary, you sign a petition, very important, you write a letter, and then you go home. Transformational advocacy is when you establish ongoing relationships. You establish an ongoing relationship with the aide to a member of the House of Representatives. You establish a relationship with the editor of an opinion page in a local or slightly larger paper. It's built on relationship over a period of time. Climate Hope Affiliates is exactly 1 year old. We had 0 chapters a year ago. Now we have 11. By April, we'll have 15. And by the end of the year, we should have between 20 and 25. They're popping up in all kinds of interesting places. We have some in the Bay Area, California, Atlanta, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, across. And we've got one coming in Billings, Montana. We've got one coming in Kansas City, Missouri. We've got one coming in Coral Gables, Florida, in Norwich, Vermont, of all places, where several members of the Climate Hope Affiliate in Norwich, Vermont say, we know when Peter Welch goes shopping at Dan & Witt's General Store, and we're going to corner him in Dan & Witt's and get him to sign on to some climate legislation. So that's the basis. That's what we're promising tonight. And I brought Scott here tonight, so I promised him in a Zoom call a couple days ago that this would be a Boffo performance, okay? And so he's here as my conscience and as a spy for our mentor, Sam Daly Harris. I want to thank Catherine. Catherine Curtis has done an extraordinary amount of job getting us organized, getting us together. There were several others who were part of the inviting team. Karen couldn't be here tonight, but she from Elmhurst was important. We had Alan Mothershed, who couldn't be here tonight, but was a very important part of our inviting team. And so we are here tonight. I'm going to tell you how we're going to finish. We're going to finish by asking you to consider joining the Chicagoland Climate Hope Affiliate. Between now and then, we'll tell you exactly what this will require of you and give you the chance to interrogate me several times in the next hour and 47 minutes so we can adjourn on time. I want to start first by reading a prayer from Pope Francis, author of Laudato Si. Gracious God, you embrace with your tenderness all that exists. Pour out upon us the power of your love, that we may protect life and beauty. Fill us with peace, that we may live together as siblings, harming no one. O God of the poor, help us to rescue the abandoned and forgotten of this earth, so precious in your eyes. Bring healing to our lives, that we may protect the world and not prey on it, that we may sow beauty, not pollution and destruction. Touch the hearts of those who look only for gain at the expense of the poor and the earth. Teach us to discover the worth of each thing, to be filled with awe and contemplation, to recognize that we are profoundly united with every creature as we journey towards your infinite light. We thank you for being with us each day. Encourage us, we pray, in our struggle for justice, love, and peace. Amen. So I'm excited to talk with you about this offering to our churches that we've been doing for a year now. The purpose of the Climate Hope Affiliates program is to empower people of faith and conscience to address the interconnected crisis of climate change and societal injustice. For us in the UCC, this is a calling. UCC, not to brag, has done a pretty good job at connecting climate justice with racial justice, with social justice. And in a while, I'll give a little history that some of you know pretty well. I'll invoke Ben Chavis, I will invoke Dolly Burwell, and talk about the beginning of environmental justice and the church's role in that. We need to empower chapters to build passion for addressing climate change and societal injustice among our elected officials, among our media, community leaders, the local community at large. Many people support the idea of addressing climate change and societal injustice. Boy, that's going to be my tongue twister. Societal injustice. But few are passionately championing that work. They don't always know how. And not only are we going to provide tools, but we also are going to be providing motivation. That's what our affiliates are doing. And as I mentioned, we have 11 of them. I have been working with one in Concord, New Hampshire. And we'll be moving. I told them I was going to be like Mary Poppins and pop up my umbrella and go away, having left them, always holding them near in my heart, and moving on to Chicago. Now, the truth is I'm going to be flying back tomorrow to New Hampshire and meeting with a Concord affiliate on Sunday night by Zoom. So they're not totally bereft. So I used the word calling earlier, and I want to return to that because that'll be a central theme tonight. We're people of faith, and I know a number of you know Jim Antal, or know of, or have read his seminal work. John says he hasn't talked for an hour with Jim Antal in at least a day. Jim Antal talks about how the Latin word for calling is vocare, which gives us the word vocation. I like to think of our sense of calling as often being rooted in love. Our care and concern for others is what frequently leads us to act. This is when you should quote Frederick Buechner, okay? When our passion meets the world's great needs. So before we introduce ourselves, and we will, far more briefly than you will like, introduce ourselves, I want to read a powerful poem that will address our sense of calling, what motivates us. And this may be what motivates you. I'm not sure what your motivations are. But this excerpt might bring up feelings of grief and sadness. We all carry grief, and we all carry, in this room anyway tonight, we all carry the displaced grief of climate grief, futures that might not be realized, and grief about what's happening now to tens and hundreds of thousands of people impacted by this climate crisis. Out of our headlines, okay, we tend to be biased, and we don't hear what's happening in Somalia, what's happening in South Sudan, what's happening in Malaysia. I'm going to share this because this poem called to several of us. It's Drew Dellinger. It's 3:23 in the morning, and I'm awake because my great-great-grandchildren won't let me sleep. My great-great-grandchildren ask me in my dreams, what did you do while the planet was plundered? What did you do when the earth was unraveling? Surely you did something when the seasons started failing, as the mammals, reptiles, and birds were all dying. What did you do once you knew? It's 3:23 in the morning, and I can't sleep because my great-great-grandchildren ask me in my dreams, what did you do when the earth was unraveling? I'm so moved that you're here tonight. I'm excited beyond measure. I'd like to give you some time to reflect on this poem that I just read. It's 3:23 in the morning, and I can't sleep. You all have pens with scrap paper in the middle, and I'd love to have you each take a piece of paper and a pen And when you're ready to write, I'd like to have you just write for 30 seconds. And I'd like to have you write your reflections on the poem or your reflections on anything I've said so far. It could be the prayer of Francis. It could be that poem. It could be a thought you have about why you're here. And then we'll ask a few people to share if they'd like. So take 30 seconds to write your reflections. One of the chapter lunches I was at, there were some things I didn't anticipate. Does anyone want to just raise their hand and say a phrase or a sentence or an observation? Anybody want to share what you just wrote? Even could be just a word or two.
More to be done.
I'm going to write that down. Others?
It's more immediate. My grandson is already asking.
Wow.
Potentially, not only could you tell him something substantive, but you can also say, to quote Robert Frost, "You come too." Any others? Go ahead, please.
I'm searching for a way to help, and I don't know how.
Ooh, you came to the right place.
Oh, you know what, and if you have documents, I've got all of the documents. Got them all already, because I was on the website.
Good.
Ooh.
And I saw all the videos too. Oh, yeah,
Good.
oh, yeah. I'm in the deep end.
And
Yeah.
in a second, I'm going to say, tell me what you know about Climate Hope Affiliates. So get ready for a filibuster. So one of the things, I want to share the concept called the story of self. And Marshall Gantz, who was an organizer for Cesar Chavez and a Harvard professor, says, what critical, pivotal, or perhaps transformative moments happened in your life that compelled you to make this commitment and led you to be here in this moment? Part of our later trainings, and there will be, as you know, 4 trainings. Once we form a chapter, there'll be 4 trainings that will happen in the next 8 weeks or so. And we'll all have a chance to evolve stories of self and what led us to be where we are. So the script tonight says I have to tell my story of self. So I can name a pivotal year. I can name 4 or 5 pivotal months that put me here tonight. 1970, we all remember it well. I was a young, freshly scrubbed freshman at Oberlin College. And by April of that year, I thought I had it all pretty well pulled together. And that first year, my freshman year at Oberlin College, was the first Earth Day. Yeah. And I got hooked. It was great. We all remember the Whole Earth catalog, and we remember Earth Day. We remember that even then, a lot of the really smart people already knew. So Earth Day was one of the pivotal events. 3 weeks later, I'm at Oberlin College, and 25 miles away, the National Guard murdered 4 students at Kent State University. Shot them to death. They were protesting the Cambodian incursion. And that night, there was a mass meeting at Oberlin College. Students from Kent State came and talked to us. And like many colleges, we went on strike. And we had seminars on the economics of the war, and seminars on foreign policy, and we gathered ourselves together, and this being Oberlin College, the Oberlin Conservatory pulled together and did the Mozart Requiem in the National Cathedral 4 days later as the world descended on Washington, D.C. And that's where I learned firsthand about nonviolent direct action. I had a rather abrupt lesson in nonviolent direct action, and I'll never forget Mother's Day, May 11th, 1970, so it was a week after Kent State, and we were all in Washington, and the buses were jammed right around the White House and the Capitol to keep us up. A month and a half after that, June 1970, I started a summer job as a camp counselor at a summer camp. And this was a camp that I would work at for 39 years, teaching nature, teaching ecology, teaching outdoor skills. And I went back to college in the fall and changed my major. I changed my major from English and writing. I was going to be a great writer. And I changed my major to physical education because I wanted to be a teacher and a coach. And I wanted to work at that camp every summer for the rest of my life. So in 3 months, that was my story of self. I went on and I became a teacher, and I became a college coach, and I became a full-time summer camp director. And all this time, my wife and I were going to church, first at Brookside Church in Manchester, New Hampshire, and then the Church of Christ at Dartmouth College, UCC in Hanover, New Hampshire. Try putting that on a business card. That's tough, you know. Yours is a lot more compact.
The name's still too long.
So I taught Sunday school basically for about 40 years. I'm retired from teaching Sunday school now. I taught I've had 17 cohorts of confirmands. So I've been doing all of this teaching, and so the call was there. But only after I retired from being a camp director did I start working for the church. And I became the director of education and added all kinds of other teaching responsibilities. I realized I knew next to nothing, so I started taking courses at the Bangor Theological Seminary in Portland, Maine on State Street. One thing led to another. It's just like those chips. 1, 2, 4, started taking courses, got into the Master of Divinity program, went into discernment, got ordained, started in church, and that all of a sudden introduced me. That's where I first, Catherine said, when did you first meet Brooks? I met him in Washington, D.C. And John, if you go to our website, that picture from Washington, D.C. is still on the environmental justice page. It's time I'm in that picture.
I saw it.
Yeah. It's time to change, you know. And Jim Antal is up in the top. I'm down in the bottom holding the Be the Church. When I retired, Brooks saw his opportunity and got me working with Climate Hope Affiliates. And I was a wreck a year and a half ago after the election. I was a wreck. And I'm here to tell you that this has given me hope, and this has transformed me. And in a while, when I give you my laser talk, which is going to be no notes, tell you why I'm so excited about some of the things that Climate Hope Affiliates are doing. That's my story of self, and since this is all about relation, eventually we'll all be telling each other. Now, however, I would like to have you introduce yourselves in a way that will be unsatisfactory to you, because all I want are 20 words or less. I know, Catherine's already editing. And I'd like your name, and I'd like your home, and then 2 questions, okay? And you can only answer with a word or a phrase, okay? And I'm going to give you a chance to write it down maybe. Here are the 2 questions. When I say climate change, what word or phrase comes to mind? When I say climate change, what word or phrase comes to mind? If there are expletives, John and I will edit them out.
There you go.
Second question, and it's only 7:23, you did not expect an existential question. You were hoping for cookies and soup. What do you want your life to be used for? What do you want your life to be used for? A word or a phrase? And our numbers are perfect so that I don't have to put you into breakout rooms. Isn't it nice that we don't have to be put in breakout rooms? We can just be here and hear everybody. So in a second, and Catherine, I'm gonna warn you, I'm calling on you first. You're our host. Can you introduce yourself and tell me what word comes to mind when you hear climate change, and what do you want your life to be used for?
I should have been prepared. You did this to me last time. I'm Catherine Curtis, and my husband John and I live in Wheaton. When I think of climate change, I have to have hope. What do I want my life to be used for? Connections. I want it to be connections between God and others.
Thank you for being such a good role model. Let's go right around the table. So Scott, you'll be the last one at the table. We'll go in the other direction.
This way, didn't you? I talk too much. That's what happens.
We haven't gone.
My name is Nicole Joes. Very happy to be here. Hello. I'm from Elmhurst. And climate change. Word or phrase that comes to my mind? Word or phrase? Fear. Fear for what my children, what other children, what our communities are not only dealing with now, but what is coming, and where's the support, and how do we support each other through this? So, yeah. Let's see. What do I want my life to be
Nice and
used
simple.
for?
What do you want your life to be used for?
I'm a fixer. I want to fix things.
Perfect. Thank you.
Brian Lewis, Elmhurst. Fight. And transformation and happiness.
Thank you.
Byron Miller, member of St. Matthew, UCC in Wheaton. I live in Warrendale. The first word that came to me was Africans, because I've worked with a lot of people in Africa and they're bearing some of the brunt of this already. Rains, excess heat, all kinds of bad things. So they're already there. And what do you want your life to be used for? Recruitment for faith. And this is part of it.
Thank you. Scott.
Yeah, I'm Scott Buckley from Naperville. What came to mind was slow, relentless global destruction. And what I'd like my life to be used for is healing and sustaining others.
I think I may have heard a quote from David Wells Wallace in that. David, could you go next, please?
I'm David. I'm from St. John's, Arlington Heights, and my hope is that our Illinois Conference Creation Care Group will get this camp to really happen this year. For parents, grandparents, and kids. And I want my life to be used for creation care.
David, thank you. We'll go around this way.
I'm Holly Peterson. I attend St. John in Arlington Heights. I am a native gardener and a master gardener, so I'm coming at the climate care angle from a plant and things that grow angle, and so I've been educating others and how that's connected for a long time. I would like my life to be used for connecting faith and care of our earth.
Thank you.
My name is Lauren Hagan. I'm from Oak Park Pilgrim Congregational. And I want to quote, I can't attribute it to anybody, but you perhaps can. The health of our economy depends on us shopping. The health of our planet depends on us not shopping. And a very small thing that I want to do is not shop.
Thank you.
And keep me from shopping.
Oh, Cleo. Oh, Cleo.
No, he's not too bad. I'm Cleo Hagan. I just think of pollution and heat and when I think of climate change. What I want my life to be used for, keeping a message out there about why no plastics, why stopping doing a lot of the ways that we destroy the earth. So just keeping the message going.
The General Synod, 3 years ago, passed a really nice resolution of witness on freedom from plastics. And it was passed on July 4th of that year. And the vote was 623 to 3. And I still haven't found those 3 people.
I don't think there's ever been a unanimous vote in Senate.
I was actually at camp when I got the word from our conman, Gordon Rankin, that had passed. And that was a unique hybrid resolution of witness because we crammed together Florida and some of you know the sausage making that happens at General Synod with resolutions of witness. And it was a resolution that had teeth and it got the attention of some Beyond Plastic, which is a really good organization. Thank you. Cleo, thank you very much. Kim.
Kim Whistler Masco. I am pastor at Burr Ridge Community Church. I'm not copying Catherine because I actually wrote it down. And there's a reason why we reconnected here. We know this already. Yeah. My response to climate change is hope. And my comment on life is connecting. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you so much. Eva, can you start us off at that table, please?
So I heard something about 20 words, so. Melting glaciers comes to it. My name is Igor Schukart, and I'm originally from Germany. And this is my church here. And what comes to mind is melting glaciers and what my life should be used for is like making a difference.
I have an Icelandic author to recommend to you who wrote the elegy for a glacier. And there's a plaque where the glacier was. They are very cognizant. So I'll remember that, Eva. Thanks.
I'm Deirdre. I'm from this church and from Glen, Ellyn. And for the first question, I think of destruction. And for the second question, I think of just wanting to use my life for good.
Deirdre, thank you. John?
John from West Chicago. When I think of climate change, the phrase that came to mind was "for the beauty of the earth." And my life's mission is centering joy.
Thank you. Mimi?
And I'm Mimi from West Chicago. Climate change, emergency, and my life to be used to have a positive impact.
I'm Rosemary Pinkos, and I'm from Carroll Stream, and this is my church here. And my one word when I think about the climate is pain. And I want my life, if I impact anyone around me, it's to notice that you already have a lot.
And therefore you don't need to shop. That's not said flippantly. It's not said flippantly. Thank you. Obviously.
One more.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Katie Miley. This is my church. I live on the next block, so not a very long commute. When I think about climate change, a combination of frustration and sadness. In terms of legacy, I think about facilitating others to grow. And I know that's a crib off Master Gardener, but I also mean it in the larger sense of human growth and potential.
Thank you. I would like to have us take a deep breath and visit the dessert cart. Let's take a 2 or 3 minute break, and if you want to clear plates, Catherine, do you have any advice on what we can do? And there are reasons for that, because if you hear a phrase 2 or 3 times, you're more likely to store it away. So the purpose of this chapter launch is to inspire you about the difference that you can make, working with others to create the political will to address the interconnected crises of climate change and social injustice. What we've witnessed in launching the affiliates, and I'm fortunate I've witnessed this, is it entails members having what we call Moses moments, or Miriam moments. Okay, so here's Moses, and he's called to go before Pharaoh and state his case. And Moses goes, wait a minute, I'm not your guy. I can't do this. I can't do that. I stutter in front of a crowd. My staff keeps turning into a snake. And yet, the moment called on Moses, and he summoned up the wherewithal to confront Pharaoh. And we all know how that turned out. With Miriam on the tambourine, they managed to get everyone through the Red Sea. And so what we're looking for from all of you is, gee, I didn't think I could do that. I wasn't really sure. I wasn't really sure. A Moses moment. The beautiful thing about Moses is that it's a tradition that we're familiar with. We can relate to it. So our goal today is to start a Climate Hope affiliate. And I'll go over this in a little bit in the workshop. But those who join, and soon I'll circulate this, okay? Did you download this too?
I have everything.
Okay. You'll be able to say, I want to join. And what that will entail is 2 meetings a month. Every Climate Hope affiliate meets twice. They meet once on their own, and they meet once in conjunction with a national webinar. Every month we put together a national webinar, and we'll have a guest speaker. This month is someone from the Environmental Protection Association, which is this whole group of former EPA employees who've gotten together, and they've got a better thing than the original. And he's going to talk about a lot of the current events. I'm going to talk about some of the current events and put a little perspective on them. And then we'll feature something really good and clever that one of the chapters has done, and I do believe it's the Ohio chapter. Our friend Marin, David knows Marin, I think, from Heartland. Maybe not.
Maybe not.
We'll launch tonight. We'll decide who's going to be in it. We'll schedule 4 trainings in the next 2 months. And after those 4 trainings were launched, we meet twice a week, or twice a month. Twice a month is not a tough commitment. Choir members do it. Choir members can do both, because if you truly believe in what you're doing, and you see the good in what you're doing, it's fairly easy to commit, and that's where the transformational part. This transformation refers to you, and the fact that you can get involved in something that can actually make a substantial difference. That's transformative. That's better than just writing a letter, or filling out a postcard, or signing a petition. Before we move on, any questions? Got a nice pad to write it down. I've got a proper dry erase marker for this board. Don't worry, Catherine. Okay. We're going to tell you more about Climate Hope Affiliates. We're going to have the action part of the workshop. I'll do a short briefing on the issue. I'll do what we call a laser talk, in which I speak almost as quickly as someone doing the disclaimer at the end of a car or a pharmaceutical commercial. You know, when they list all the negative things that can happen to you very quickly. And then we will actually, with your pens and papers, write a letter to Senator Tammy Duckworth. And I will be giving you advice on what you can say. Then we'll conclude and we'll find out who wants to join. First of all, I would like someone to tell me one thing you know about Climate Hope Affiliates. I mean, you're all here, you've heard rumors. Somebody tell me one thing you know.
About what?
About Climate Hope Affiliates.
Oh, okay.
UCC action.
There you go.
Thank you. UCC, although in practice it's founded by and overseen by the UCC, all are welcome. In fact,
that's a good phrase.
We invite people of faith and people of good conscience, and that specifically is going to allow us to work in schools, in universities and schools. The Concord, New Hampshire chapter has a big UU contingent. And the UUs don't take a back seat to many people on climate. They're really good. Different chapters can be ecumenical and interfaith. But yes, it is a UCC joint. So that is one thing that we're absolutely right about.
Isn't there another body that's also working with you directly with UCC on this? Another church body, I thought.
Absolutely.
Was very directly involved.
And it's a partnership that allows us, it's Creation Justice Ministries. And Creation Justice Ministries is very well established. They do amazing training for climate ambassadors. The distinction here is that we are working specifically on advocacy to members of Congress. That's what we've chosen to do, and that is not dissimilar to CCL, Citizens Climate Lobby. They're our first cousins. They're our big sisters and brothers. They inspire us with what they do. And we have in common Sam Daly Harris, the evil genius behind the whole thing, who invented these trainings and who really is an inspiring person to work with. CCL is secular. Climate Hope Affiliates is faith-based. And faith-based sometimes opens doors that others can't. The last time faith-based groups really dug in deep, you remember the pictures of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and the Rabbi Abraham Yoshua Heschel and others on the bridge in Selma. when people of faith really decided that this was their moment, Moses' moment. Other questions? Go ahead, Scott.
So after you transform yourself, then what?
In my case, transform others. Elissa Paquette lives in Wolfboro, New Hampshire. Confesses to having been transformed. Susan Moore, lifetime Audubon person, member of the South Church in Concord, New Hampshire, transformed. Diving in as an affiliate co-chair, constantly haranguing me with emails. What about this? What about this? What about this? So I've seen others be transformed on my watch, and I know it can happen. That's a good question. Thank you. Tell me one more thing that you know about Climate Hope affiliates. Great logo. Kathy, go ahead. Tell me one more.
It will be supported.
You will be supported. Not just by Brooks, but also by our friends in Washington, D.C. The Reverend Michael Luroth and the Washington Advocacy Office of the United Church of Christ does an extraordinary job helping us frame our issues, helping us with access to congressional aids, lets us know what to do and what not to do. And every month they issue one of these action sheets. And they help Brooks. Brooks is the editor, but they do a lot of the composing. And they outline, and all the chapter affiliates will get this tomorrow. The other thing I should mention is, I mentioned that there's a monthly webinar, and affiliates meet in conjunction with the monthly webinar. Maybe they'll gather together and they'll have the monthly webinar up on the screen, or they'll all zoom into the webinar, then they'll zoom in with each other. There's a webinar tomorrow. So if perchance at noon you've gotten your chores done, did the dry cleaning, did the shopping, did the recycling, and it's noon and you're sitting there with your sandwich, log on and check out the webinar. It's a total bonus. You don't have to be a member, you don't have to have raised your hand and say, hey, I want to join. But I just wanted to let you know that there is a webinar, and Catherine will send you the link if she hasn't already.
Not yet.
Holy moly.
I will.
But it's out there. Okay. So,
Is that Central Time?
Pardon me now?
Is that noon
Noon
Central
Central.
Time?
Noon Central.
Yep.
Okay.
1 o'clock Eastern Time. So, why do we get this focus not just on climate change, but also societal injustice? I could lift up examples like the racial inequality after Katrina, the 9th Ward, Standing Rock Reservation, where some clergy that I know were tear gassed and sprayed. But I want to give you a more historical answer. So I want to go back to 1980, because faith communities have played a central role in the launch of the environmental justice movement. Many organizations were part of the launch, but the Commission for Racial Justice of the United Church of Christ was very central. One of the commission's leaders, the Reverend Ben Chavis, who was one of our guests on our webinar recently. The Reverend Ben Chavis is often credited as being the one who coined the phrase environmental racism. A UCC lay member who was a leader in the Martin Luther King Jr.'s organization named Dolly Burwell was the lead organizer for a 6-week civil disobedience campaign in rural North Carolina in 1982. The protest pricked the conscience of the nation about toxic waste dumping in communities of color in low-income neighborhoods. Then the first UCC director of environmental justice, Charles Lee, just retired in 1987, published in the first report detailing the pervasiveness of environmental racism throughout the country. And we still get quoted in the Washington Post, we still get quoted in the New York Times for that report. Lee was also the lead organizer for the first National People of Color Environmental Leadership Summit. And this event issued the landmark Principles for Environmental Justice. So in some very direct ways, the climate justice movement would later emerge out of that movement. Right? UCC DNA is in those things. And it's important for us to know the history behind us, because we are standing on the shoulders of giants. Let me share with you a quote from author Frances Moore Lappé, who speaks as to why we're here. Our theory of change when it comes to empowering advocates. She wrote Diet for a Small Planet decades ago, but in a more recent book she wrote, our real problem is not a heating planet or rampant malnutrition. We only have one real problem, our own feelings of powerlessness to manifest the solutions right in front of our nose. Think about that. Our real problem is not a heating planet or rampant malnutrition. We only have one real problem, our own feelings of powerlessness to manifest the solutions right in front of our noses. Our goal is to launch a Climate Hope Advocate affiliate here today, and the methodology we use is designate to dissolve those feelings of powerlessness. You get hope when you're in the fight, and you get even more hope when you get wins. The first campaign for Climate Hope affiliates, we got punched in the nose and we lost. It was fascinating. It was actually July 4th again, and I was up at camp again. And Climate Hope affiliates have been pushing hard to save the carbon tax credits in the big beautiful bill. And we'd even gotten to the point where we had gotten Senator Maggie Hassan to talk to Tom Tillis to see what they could do about saving the carbon tax credits. Well, it turned out was the carbon tax credits is what they gave the conservatives to get them to back the big beautiful bill. And then Senator Lisa Murkowski took the money and we lost. It was a bitter loss because we came close. And we learned from that, and starting in July, we went to work on the Environmental Protection Agency, and very specifically, we went to work on funding for the Environmental Protection Agency. This is the laser talk, okay? And you can see how close I come in my laser talk to what's printed there. The budget proposal for fiscal year 2026. President Trump proposed 55% reduction in the Environmental Protection Agency. The House proposed a 23% reduction in the EPA. The Senate proposed a 5% reduction. And we spent weeks and months writing letters, writing opinion pieces, contacting congressional aides, doing what we could to get everyone in committee, because when you do appropriations, it goes to a conference committee. You've got the Senate, you've got the House, and you debate. And so in that process, the budget that came forth for NOAA, for FEMA, for the Environmental Protection Agency, a reduction of 3.5%. It went to the House. It was passed overwhelmingly by the House of Representatives, passed by the Senate, signed into law. Okay, that was, according to neutral press, a rebuke for the president. This was Congress deciding to hold on to their power of the purse. Not unlike the way the Supreme Court today said, wait a minute, you don't have that power. That power belongs to Congress. Okay, so this was a rebuke. Now, a week and a half later, the endangerment finding got withdrawn. We knew this was coming. It was in Project 2025. We knew that they were going to do that. There is nothing more outlined in red in Project 2025 than environmental stuff. You know that the number one thing he's nuts on, okay, is wind power. Okay, you've heard him. Oh, it kills all the birds. Blah blah blah.
Anybody else?
Don't try to inject logic or science into the reasoning of this 34-time convicted felon.
Thank you.
The endangerment finding was taken away, and by the way, we have a real madman running EPA, Lee Zeldin, okay? So we have, and some people say, well, never mind, they got the budget passed, you've got a broken EPA. If you take away the funding from the EPA, something gets broken that doesn't get replaced. And what we're doing now is setting the stage for rebuilding post-Trump. We are keeping the EPA in one piece. And our next job for Climate Hope Affiliates, our job as a Chicago chapter, is to work on fiscal year 2027. And to be in touch with Representative Caston and Senator Duckworth and other people and preserve the funding for 2027. If the funding is in place, the EPA can be repaired. It's going to take, I told my wife that we might not be around to see things rebuilt the way we have them. They will be rebuilt, okay? They will be rebuilt. And this is part of the rebuilding. We are positioning ourselves to establish relationships with congresspeople, with editors, with opinion makers, with community members, to rebuild what's been torn down. And congressional advocacy has been shown to be an effective tool. That's why we exist. So that's the laser talk. Believe it or not, that's a talk that you'll be able to give, okay? With a little practice, you'll be able to internalize these arguments. You'll be able to say, hey, this is what's at stake, this is what we need to do. And we're gonna take a few minutes and write a letter to Senator Duckworth. You have got, I believe we all have action sheets. And on the back of your action sheet, write to Senator Duckworth, and it tells you exactly how to write to her. And I'd like to give us 10 or 15 minutes to actually write a letter. And this is a letter, you don't have to send it to her on the back of this recycled 3-hole punch Glen Ellyn Congregational Church stationery, but you can take it home and type it up, and actually, if you email it to Senator Duckworth, and her office receives 10 letters, there's an oblation here, you know, there are 15 of us, we'll all maybe write letters, 10 of them will actually follow through. If 10 letters appear saying, thank you, Senator Duckworth, for supporting the funding of the EPA, here's why your support of the funding of the 2027. Now, just for your own timing, the budget process is already underway. We're gonna see the budget proposed for FY 2027 in about 3 or 4 weeks. Congress is grinding on. And this is, for the moment, one of the things that we're gonna do. In a second, once we're done with our letters, there are a couple of other really cool initiatives that Climate Hope affiliate chapters are doing. But for now, I would like you to take 10 to 15 minutes, and I promise to shut up. I may saunter back to the facility now that there's no line. And I ask you to write a letter to Senator Duckworth, and we've got plenty of spare paper if you've run out. Does anyone else need? Do you need paper?
No, I have a question.
Yes.
That story about Margaret Smith and Senator Cruz, I thought that was very poignant. And do you remember that story?
Yes.
Would you want to share that with them? Or do you want me to read it? It's very short, but I thought that it was just very poignant how she handled it and how she handled communicating with it.
Nicole, the timing could not be more perfect for you to read this.
Okay, all right. Okay, so this is a woman named Margaret Smith. I don't have the picture, but imagine a woman who is much shorter, much smaller in stature than Senator Cruz. And she's standing there and she has her 2 hands and she's holding hands with him. And he's looking down at her. And hold on, I just lost where I was reading. I apologize. Give me 1 second. I gotta find my spot again. Okay. This is in a video. You guys can go watch this video to see it. It's very, very informing. Margaret Smith of Dallas, Texas, seen here with her senator, Ted Cruz. She said, "I learned in results that I hold Senator Cruz's hands with 2 hands, and I don't let go until I finished my laser talk on the Global Fund to fight AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria." That was the first year Senator Cruz ever said yes to a results request, co-sponsoring the Senate resolution, supporting the Global Fund instead of President Trump's proposed 29% cut. 2 House Republicans and 2 House Democrats stood on stage in Lyon, France at the Global Fund replenishment and announced that Congress would provide a 16% increase to the Global Fund, which it did, and President Trump signed it into law, which became $1.56 billion a year over the next 3 years. By 2022, the Global Fund partnership had saved 59 million lives since its inception in 2002. And then there was a little quote that they had left, and I thought it was really nice. It was by the Apollo astronaut Rusty Scherer. I think I said that correctly, I hope I did. It says, "We aren't passengers on the spaceship Earth, we're the crew. We aren't residents on this planet, we're citizens. The difference in both cases is responsibility." So, I just thought that that was really beautiful.
We're the cavalry. Thank you, Nicole, that was perfectly timed. Dear Senator Duckworth, writing today, member of Climate Hope Affiliate. Whoop, there it is. Oh, and if you've got your little iPad, I can even send it tonight. Holy cow.
I got a response.
They have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know, your staff does it.
And then sometimes that
No.
leads to a connection with the state.
That's the one I know.
And I chose tonight Senator Duckworth because we all have Senator Duckworth. 3 different representatives among all of our churches. But tonight,
Only have one senator.
yeah.
There's one's.
Thank you so much, I really appreciate it.
Dear Senator Duckworth, my name is the Reverend Brian Lewis, and I am the pastor of First Congregational United Church of Christ in Elmhurst. First, I want to thank you for your note to fund the EPA for fiscal year 26 at a higher level than the Senate initially proposed. I'm also a member of Climate Hope Affiliate.
We can give them something they value. They value constituent stories. They want to hear from their constituents. They want to hear that something they did made a difference, and it could lead to opening doors. So thank you. That was exactly, Brian, what I had in mind. I want to put the letters aside for a second and talk a little bit now about how we come together as an affiliate. We designed Climate Hope Affiliates with the help of Sam Daly Harris. Sam founded the anti-poverty organization Results in 1980. He's still working with us. Sam coached Citizens Climate Lobby for their first 7 years. He's working with us on Climate Hope Affiliates. The year before COVID, Citizens Climate Lobby had published 4,000 letters to the editor, opinion pieces, op-eds. That's the kind of empowerment. Our number is 48. Okay, we're getting there, and we've actually had opinion pieces published in some significant newspapers. It's been really fun. The Manchester Union Leader, the Concord Monitor, the Keene Sentinel. We've covered poor little New Hampshire from wall to wall. And again, this is part of transformational advocacy. Transactional advocacy, you do it, you hold up a sign, you go home and take a nap. We're training you to do things you didn't think you could do. To ask for a meeting with a congressperson, to bring them on board to an issue, to have them publish a letter that you've written. If you do that, you'll see yourself in a new light. It really is transformative. I've seen it work. Moses moments. So we differ from most organizations because we offer, and you said it best, support. This is not train you and kick you out the door and wish you luck. There is continuing support. Support from the national office, support from Sam and Rob and Brooks, ongoing contact. And that's why, in addition to the 2 monthly meetings, the chapter leaders also have a chance to meet regularly. So all the leaders of the chapters will meet together. And that's a very fertile discussion because they bring all the challenges of their chapters, all the successes of their chapters, and that 2 or 3 Sunday evenings a week, the chapter leaders are meeting. So this happens on a lot of levels. So we're really in this together for the long haul. And what's really fun is to see affiliates that have been going for 5 or 6 months, evolving in ways that we didn't even think would be possible. So soon, not right now, but soon, I'm going to hand out this sheet, and this is where you can indicate whether or not you want to join. And so the first box says check all that apply. I will be a chapter member and participate as part of a committed core group of advocates who meet twice a month, including a monthly webinar and a second meeting, and plan to take further action. In order to advance the Climate Hope Affiliates mission to empower people of faith and conscience to address the interconnected crises of climate training and social injustice. We'll start with a 4-part new group training. March 13th, March 20th, our training dates. We'll get those out to everyone, don't worry. Second box, you probably, how many of you read The Pollinator? Look at all those kids, that's so exciting! The Pollinator is awesome! And it's all about us too, that's also exciting. And we're actually getting ready for our 4th annual UCC Earth Day event, which this year is going to be centered in Atlanta because the Atlanta chapter of Climate Hope Affiliates has really outdone themselves. So we said, great, we're going to have the Earth Day event down in Atlanta. Maybe we can get Senator Warnock to preach. Don't know if we pulled that off yet. That's our hope. So I will subscribe to the Pollinator, the UCC's Environmental Justice newsletter, and receive alerts, check that box, to keep me up to date on important actions. There's also a monthly, Brooks and Michael Malcolm put together a really nice monthly webinar on some subject. That's where we heard Ben Chavis. Amazing. Box number 3, it has a whole separate page. I will become a donor and advance the Climate Hope Affiliates mission by becoming a monthly sponsor or making a one-time gift. Look, it's a QR code. You can donate so easily, okay? And that's one of 2 commercials that I'm giving. So you've got all kinds of nice ways to give. The second commercial, David's already broached this, is our Climate Care Camp. This is an Illinois Conference Green Team event. And this is at amazing Tower Hill Camp. I can't wait to play in the dunes. I can't wait to hear from the First Peoples and what they have to offer. I can't wait to hear from a water specialist. I can't wait to have a session under the night sky. I can't wait to expose people of all ages to the awe and excitement of being in nature. If you fall in love with nature, if you experience the awe and wonder of nature, you become a steward of the earth. That's how it works. And if we do our work well enough, maybe we can keep those great-great-grandchildren quiet. You know, get a little work done. You know,
I doubt
it. So we've got a lot of these posters. Take these with you and put them up in your church.
Yeah, so Rob will be there, and so will somebody from the First Nations be there to talk about the sacredness from that perspective of the earth.
it's an incredible program that we've got. And yet, despite the fact that we've got a lot happening, there's also a chance to relax and to unwind, to worship, to have stillness. And so we're excited about it, but this has been planned so that there is a chance to, as you know, you've seen that before. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still. Be. That's what we're gonna do with camp.
Right. With s'mores and fires.
Oh, it's a rule. I looked it up. American Camp Association, page 27C. There've got to be s'mores. There's got to be s'mores. And we'll make sure you have gluten-free s'mores. You know, we're capable of that. 2, 3, 4, 5. Did you pass those up?
Yes.
Afterwards, we have Lake Michigan.
3, 4, 5. Don't fill them out yet. Don't fill out the top part. If you want, fill this part out for me. This is great. This is your improved address, email, phone. I will call you. I will text you. Actually, no, I won't. I might send you an email. No, but don't fill out the top part yet.
The audio's already spoken.
Fill out the bottom part with your name and address. And even if you are here just to spy on us, still fill out your name and address at the bottom, because you're going to want to know what we're up to when they take us away. Okay, we're almost there, good people. A charter member, a chapter member. I got another quote. This is from Anonymous. Be outrageous. It's the only place that isn't crowded. Be outrageous. It's the only place that isn't crowded. Don't you love that? Doesn't the idea of being part of Climate Hope Affiliates inspire you? Can you envision this chapter being effective in addressing climate change and social injustice? Can you see the chapter taking you and teams of people across the country, all across the country, to a new level of civic engagement and effectiveness? This is the resistance. This is pushing back, and pushing back is what gives us hope. It dispels that powerlessness, that sense of not being able to do anything. I'm here to testify because I've seen it in action. Okay.
Question.
Good.
If we didn't sign up now, will there be training, and can't get it all put together by March 13th? Will there be trainings in the future?
Yes.
Okay, and
Tonight,
6 months or 8 months or a year?
You bring up a really important point, Byron. This is, first of all, this is ongoing. We'll form a chapter tonight. There's going to be a chapter formed. Okay, I've been doing some math and some calculus. There's going to be a chapter here. There are 3 or 4 people not here tonight who are going to be joining. Not everyone could be here tonight, and tonight we wanted it to be just in person. Going forward, we're going to make use of Zoom. A number of meetings will be hybrid because that is the best way to maximize numbers. I won't always be here in person, so I'll be here by Zoom. I'm going to be running the trainings, and I will be doing regular engagement once the trainings are done. I also don't fly off into the void. And so you can make a decision to pass now and kind of wait and see what happens, and then join in later. And then you can also miss a training or two. Life happens to all of us, okay? The affiliate will move on with its own momentum, and you can come, and They don't kick you out of choir if you miss one choir rehearsal. They don't kick you out of your book group if you miss a week or two. Climate Hope Affiliates is the same. We will, we will have what we'll take from tonight, and then we've got a couple of days to catch up with some of the people who couldn't be here tonight. And then that's why there's a little gap, and then we'll gather for a couple of trainings. This is, by the way, and I just forgot about this, I told you this. If you haven't really finalized a good Lenten practice, this is a great Lenten practice.
I may have mentioned that in the email I sent out
Oh,
last
good.
night.
We're gonna get this bad boy done by Easter, and be launched by Easter. You know, I know what a quiet time it is for all the pastors in this room. Not much happening between now and Easter, okay? But this, just remember, Lent used to be just about abstinence, okay? Lent is a great time to take up things, take up new habits. Although, Pope Leo stopped saying bad things about people. Oh, I don't know if you saw Pope Leo's Lenten advice, but it was really good. Stop saying mean things about people, okay? By the way, Chicago, thank you for the Pope. Really.
Amen.
Thank you.
Sorry, but.
I'm a little confused, maybe. I'm here tonight kind of representing our group. So are you looking for groups to join or individuals to join?
Individuals to join.
Oh, I see.
And
I never thought about it that way.
Individuals to join. This is, and this is, so, and you can go back as an emissary to the group and take 2 or 3 of these, if you will. You know, take all the material and say, okay, here's what the guy said. If you want to join, fill this out. We'll get it back to Catherine, and we'll make sure you're there for the first trainings. So, in fact, we've got several people here as representatives of a larger whole. You know, I know there were some Elmhurst people who couldn't be here tonight, for instance. You know, and I have a feeling Karen will probably put her hand up. So there are several examples of that. And we're also going to be launching a second Chicagoland chapter. And we're going to be doing that in the most cooperative mode possible. Scott Oberly is working with Brooks on another chapter that will be arising, I think a month or 2 down the road. And we pool all of our resources. Having 2 chapters, I mean, we've got 3 representatives among us. 2 chapters is probably a minimum. And we can decide, you know, who gets which representative. But we all get Senator Duckworth. That's why we did that tonight. Byron, does that help?
Yes.
Are there other questions before we finally put them in? Go ahead, please.
It's not specifically about the chapter, but your use of the word "we" in talking to the representative senators in Washington leaves me questioning, who is "we"?
Generally speaking, you know, the Chicago chapter will address the representatives that represent them in Congress.
Okay.
So each affiliate around the country has representatives and senators that, you know, because senators and reps listen to their constituents. We don't want to be, in fact, back when we were trying to save the carbon tax credits, it was, hey, find someone you know in North Carolina. Find anyone you know in North Carolina and have them contact Senator Tillis. Okay. Then he became a lame duck and he went out on his own anyway. Most of the "we" tonight has been "we," the Chicago chapter. Sometimes, you know, I'm referring to all the Climate Hope affiliates as a whole.
No, but you were specifically talking about in Washington, I thought.
Yep.
So I didn't know if you were talking about maybe another affiliate who was already going and already in work. I didn't know if there was head 5 people that are in Washington?
No, there's a Washington office that advises us, but it's each individual affiliate is contacting their senators and their representatives. In fact, the East Lansing chapter got into their representative's office and had a meeting with their representative. It was very productive. He is a Republican climate denier. And that's who we want to meet with, because we want to take people up the ladder, okay? There's even a ladder diagram right here.
Let me just say that Pilgrim is having a workshop tomorrow on difficult conversations.
That is
So you're all welcome to come to
What
Pilgrim.
time is it?
9:30 to
So if you can get a denier to be neutral, or if you can get a neutral person to be a supporter, or you can get a supporter to be a champion, or you can get a champion to be a partner, we actually have in California someone who's already a champion who is communicating regularly with the affiliate, and there is a provision that a member of Congress can go on the floor before they're gavelled in and speak for a minute about anything they want. It's called the magic minute, and it's on C-SPAN, but it's not part of the record. It's not on the congressional record. It hasn't been gavelled in. But representatives can go and talk for a minute, and we've got one representative considering coming and talking about the EPA. Okay. So there are a lot of different ways to, it's called the magic minute. More on that in your next pollinator. Seriously. Now you know. Okay.
So you had the question about Illinois and organization. So
Yep.
right now, am I correct in assuming there are no Climate Hope affiliates in Illinois right now?
0.
But there's 2 possible ones that.
Right. There's one we're gonna launch tonight,
Right.
and one in Downers Grove that will launch hopefully in a month or 2, depending on what Brooks and Scott are cooking up. Right now, Brooks and Scott need to find their own Catherine Curtis.
Another question. Are we talking just federal government only or state government?
Federal only. This is specifically, because we have, if you're trying to solve climate change, you've got to do it on a big scale. You've got to do it on a big scale. I mean, we're all locally doing everything we can. We are recycling. We are cutting down our waste. We're planting pollinator gardens. Thank you, Glen, Ellyn. You've got a great pollinator garden. I'll be back here when it blooms, and I can't wait, because when I go to camp, I'll make sure to take a detour and see, because it'll be August, and your pollinator garden will be full of monarch butterflies, I hope. That's my hope. I'm a little nuts for the monarchs. They mean a great deal to me. And there was one.
Let's get that on camera.
There was one population study. A certain segment of monarchs, the population is actually ticked up. You know how in Mexico, shrinking, their little preserved shrink. There's one group of monarchs that has they've actually ticked up.
Yes.
We have a pollinator garden thanks to Holly at our church.
And who did the native plant lecture?
Judy Grimes from St. John Arlington Heights.
Okay, so I'm not discounting what we do locally. Oh my goodness, it's the butterfly effect. There's a reason we use that term. But to turn this ocean liner around, we need to work on a national level. We need to be audacious, and we need to be outrageous. We need to do things we didn't think we could do. And we've seen it work with CCL. And there is room for faith-based advocacy, in the conversation. And even in this rookie year, this latest success we've had with funding the EPA emboldens us to think even bigger. And we don't know necessarily what the next big challenge will be. We're glad we've got a Washington office to help us figure that out.